Welcome to the collection of the wildest and craziest AITA Reddit stories of all time. From wild betrayals to shocking twists, these tales will leave you questioning who is really in the wrong. Let's dive in together. The first story for this collection is from firm_competition 3178. AITA for asking my husband not to walk around all because it makes my daughter uncomfortable. So, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and my husband has 2 sons who are 10. My daughter's dad passed away when she was just 2, and my stepson's mom died when they were around 5. My husband was pretty used to walking around the house after showering since it was just boys around. But now there's me and my daughter, who again is a teenager. My daughter leaves her door open because of something that happened when she was younger. We had to evacuate and her door got stuck, so she's a bit traumatized by it. Also, my husband has this habit of walking out of the bathroom after taking a shower, just strolling to the bedroom all chill while scrolling on his phone. My daughter came to me the other day complaining that she doesn't want to see him like that. I told my husband about it, and he was like, okay, but then he got annoyed with my daughter for bringing it up instead of just letting it go. I explained that she thinks seeing her stepfather is really disrespectful to both of them, and she values his privacy. He suggested she just start closing her door, even though he knows about her trauma, and then he said to get her into therapy. She's already in therapy and is actually getting better at shutting the door when she changes. He got all mad, saying I was choosing her over him. We've been going back and forth for like 3 days about the same thing, which is why I'm here. My daughter said she could just handle it because she hates hearing us argue. OP is not the AH, rather OP's husband is an AH for roaming around in the home naked. Her husband should respect her boundaries, especially since her teenage daughter is uncomfortable with it. OP's husband's reaction to OP's complaint is dismissive and unjustifiable. He is an AH, and I would rate him 4 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP, she is completely justified, and I would rate her 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now jump on to the next story from alternative_panda512. AITA for asking my windowed BF to acknowledge our relationship publicly. My 27F, boyfriend of 2 years, 41M, lost his wife to cancer when their daughter was 2. I knew his wife because they lived in the same apartment building as I did. During her illness, I used to bring them food and offer to watch their baby. After her death, I continued to help because I felt bad for him. He asked me if I could pick up his daughter from daycare and watch her until he came home every day. I didn't mind, as the daycare was within walking distance of my house. Every evening, he'd pick her up from my place, along with a casserole dish of dinner I'd prepared for him. We weren't friends, and I never initiated small talk. I figured the last thing he needed was a chatty woman bothering him at the end of his day. About a year later, he asked me out. At first, I assumed he wanted me to babysit so he could go on a date. I even told him I was happy he was putting himself out there again. He smiled and clarified that he was asking me to dinner with him. He said his friend and his wife would watch his daughter. We went on a date and took things very slow, which I understood. A few months later, he suggested moving in with me instead of renewing the lease on his place. I agreed. Things have been great, and his daughter loves me. Now, here's where I might be the biggest asshole. He's never introduced me to his family, who live across the country and are still close with his late wife's family. I've only met 2 of his friends. Once. Last Christmas, he took his daughter to his parents' place. His mom even invited his in-laws. I stayed home and understood. However, this Christmas, he's doing the same thing. There's also not a single picture of me on his social media. It's always just him and his daughter. Under those photos, there are countless comments praising him for raising his daughter all alone with 0 help, even though I work and do most of the childcare because he works long hours. When I confronted him about it, he said he doesn't want to hurt his in-laws and that I should be more empathetic. I asked how long he plans to keep me hidden and if he's embarrassed of me. He rolled his eyes and said, "It's not about you. It's about not wanting to broadcast my life to everyone." Update. I ended up having a heart-to-heart with him. I straight up asked if he only asked me out because he wanted a bang nanny. Does he actually love me? Why is he hiding me? I told him it really hurts when he only posts pictures of himself and his daughter, and everyone's commenting on what an amazing, super dad he is for doing it all on his own. I said, if I'm just a convenience, I'm out. He went quiet for a bit, then handed me his phone and said, read my conversation with my parents. So, I did. Turns out, he's mentioned me a few times. They told him they have no interest in getting to know me and that he should have moved closer to them so they could help with his daughter and he could truly heal. They accused me of taking advantage of him because he was vulnerable, and they hate me for it. Oh, and apparently, I'm a gold digger with daddy issues. He defended me, though. He told them none of that is true, that I've helped him get back on his feet, and that I've never asked him to pay for anything. Then, a few weeks ago, he told them he wanted to bring me for Christmas. They said I wasn't welcome because they'd invited his in-laws and called me a cheap placeholder. He told them he didn't even want to go, but they said his daughter wanted to see both sides of the family, so in the end, he agreed. I asked him, why didn't you tell me any of this? He said, I was trying to fix it without hurting you. Then I asked if his friends feel the same way, and he admitted they do. They were friends with his late wife and think he moved on too fast and don't like me. He said, if I bring you around, they'll just say things that hurt you. I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't know how. I asked, how do you actually feel? Do you agree with them? He said, of course not. I just don't want people to hurt you. So, I asked, what's your plan? He said, I don't know. I'm exhausted. You tell me. I told him maybe we should take the Christmas break to reflect, and after that, we could try therapy to figure things out. He agreed and then went out to buy dinner for us. Honestly, I don't even know what to think anymore. Update 2. Since people have been asking in DMs, here's the update. Update on my boyfriend. Leave it to a kindergartner to spill all your secrets. They left yesterday, but apparently, his in-laws came by early in the morning to his parents' house to visit his daughter while he was still asleep. His father-in-law complimented his daughter's dress, and she said, Ellabella picked it. My name's Isabella, and my sister used to call me Ellabella as a kid. His daughter heard it from my family and now calls me that sometimes too. Her grandpa asked if Ellabella was her school friend, and his dad said, no, it's their neighbor who sometimes watches her. But his daughter said, no, she's not our neighbor. She lives with us. And just kept going. When my boyfriend woke up, his FIL was not happy. He said he wasn't mad that he moved on. They knew it would happen eventually, but he's disappointed he lied about it and had to hear the truth from a kid. He was also pissed that my boyfriend's parents knew and lied too. My boyfriend apologized and said he wanted to tell them in person, but his in-laws are still upset. For now, they've canceled coming to his parents' house for Christmas dinner. They still want to see their granddaughter but aren't ready to talk to him. Now, his parents are mad at him too, and he said it's probably best if he comes back earlier than planned. Maybe on Boxing Day. He admitted he was an idiot and should have been honest from the start because now everyone's upset. He also said he's done with this drama and from now on, he's going low contact or no contact with anyone who has a problem with him dating. Update on me. I haven't told him I got a positive pregnancy test. My options right now. 1. Terminate before he comes back without telling him. 2. Don't terminate, raise the baby on my own, and break up with him. 3. Talk to him and decide what to do together. Honestly, I'm super anxious about talking to him. We've talked about getting married and having kids someday, but we've never talked about unplanned pregnancies. I've been on the pill forever, but my doctor switched my prescription this cycle, and I should have stuck to my gut when I suggested using condoms, but he said I was being paranoid. I don't think he's ready for a baby, but I also don't feel right deciding this for him. I need to think everything through a bit more before making a decision. OP is not the AH. She's been a supportive partner and stepmother while being hidden due to his fear of conflict. His secrecy hurt her, and now she's facing a major life decision alone. She deserves honesty, respect, and open communication. OP's partner is an AH, and I would rate him 3.5 out of 5 on the AH scale, and OP gets a 0. Let's now jump on to the next story from throw_away_08420. AITA for causing a rift in my brother's marriage by calling out my sister-in-law for lying in front of everyone at my Christmas party? Basically, I, 26F, hosted a big Christmas party at my house last weekend, and what was supposed to be a fun evening spent celebrating as a family turned into a bit of a shit show, all because of my sister-in-law, Hannah, 31F. Now, for some context, my wife Jess, 28F, and I got married this past September. We wanted to keep the wedding small and intimate, so the decision was made that the wedding would essentially be child-free, with an exception for my half-sister, 16F, since she's an older kid and I had asked her to be one of my bridesmaids. Back when my brother Alex, 30M, and his wife Hannah had RSVP'd for the wedding, I made sure to call and remind them that, sadly, their baby couldn't come with them because it's child-free. I also want to mention here that I had told them about this back when we went to visit my brother and his family in the summer. Anyway, while on the phone, they said they hadn't forgotten and they had already planned for Hannah's mom to babysit. However, when the day of the wedding came, Alex and Hannah showed up with, you guessed it, my then 8-month-old nephew. I'll be honest and admit that I'm kind of a pushover, and I didn't want to make a scene on my wife and I's special day, so I regrettably let it go. We got about 2 minutes into the ceremony before extremely loud screaming and crying for my nephew began. The worst part was that they tried to ignore it at first, for about another 2 minutes, before Hannah finally excused herself and him. Unfortunately, she couldn't go into another room because we were on a beach. At first, she just tried to walk further down the beach, but the crying could still be heard loud and clear, so she eventually walked back to their car and later decided that her and my nephew would go home and not stay for the reception, and only my brother Alex would stay. Fast forward to the Christmas party. Everything was perfect until Alex, Hannah, and nephew show up, after she had reached out a month prior to tell me they wouldn't be coming at all and would be spending time with her family. I was annoyed and decided to pull them aside when I went to greet them and asked why they didn't tell me they were coming, because I honestly didn't make enough food to feed 2 more people for dinner, not to mention I had nothing for their son. Alex gave me a confused look and asked why I thought they weren't coming, and when I told him the reason why, all hell broke loose. Alex obviously questioned Hannah as to why she would do this, and her response was to immediately, and loudly, accuse me of lying and of hating my nephew. Obviously, this got the attention of the room and everyone stopped and turned to look at us like something out of a movie. He then asked why she would think I hate their son, especially considering I agreed to change the policy to allow him to come to the wedding. Which, as you already know, I did not do. I quickly told Alex that wasn't true and explained myself and my reasoning behind my choice, that it wasn't personal, and that I of course love my nephew. I reminded them that I was super cool about the crying and never said anything, even when I probably should have. Jess started to walk over to us from the kitchen, most likely to try and defuse the situation, bless her heart. All while Hannah doubled down and tried to make it seem like I was lying, so I lost it and said, well, if I'm a liar who hates your kid, then I guess you should probably get the fuck out of my house. Jess stopped dead in her tracks and the silence that came after was eerie. Hannah then started crying, and quickly left with my nephew and slammed the front door behind her. My brother turned and gave me a sad look before following behind her. It didn't take long before I started to feel embarrassed that I let things escalate like that. Jess comforted me after they left, and we ended the party early because I don't even know how to properly process what just happened. Later, my brother texted me, saying he didn't know who to believe. Apparently, Hannah is adamant that I allowed her to bring their son to the wedding last minute because I felt bad for trying to control what she gets to do with her baby. She's also saying I made the Christmas party thing up as well, claiming I've always had a vendetta against her, and want to make her look bad. Alex says he just needs time and that he's heartbroken and worried that Hannah isn't who he thought she was. Other family members have been texting me, saying they're on my side, but I do kind of feel like an asshole for how I handled everything at the party. I know Hannah is trying to drag my name through the mud, but I feel guilty for making her cry, intentionally trying to publicly humiliate her, and for ruining the vibe of my own party. So, AITA for causing a rift in my brother's marriage by calling out my sister-in-law for lying in front of everyone at my Christmas party? OP is not the AH. Hannah lied, manipulated the situation, and played the victim when caught. OP had every right to defend herself, though she could have handled it more calmly. The rift exists because of Hannah's deception, not OP's reaction. As for scores, I would rate Hannah 2.5 and OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the next story from Throwaway Jason 7723. AITA for not kicking out my roommate just because my girlfriend thinks he might be trans? I, 22M, have a roommate, let's call him Alex M23, who moved in about 6 months ago. I honestly never considered Alex may be trans, not that I would care if he was, but that's not the issue. He is a short guy and probably under 165 centimeters / 5 feet 5 inches, has a lot facial hair, muscles, and looks a lot like a short Henry Cavill emo. No one I know has ever brought up this idea before. I've had my friends and family at our apartment before. This is really the part that gets to me because my mom is extremely against any gay people, and if she sensed anything was up, she would have caused problems right away. Alex and I get along. We're polite but not really friends. He's quiet but super polite, always pays rent on time, helps with chores, and even shares his cooking with me. I appreciate having him around, especially because my last 3 roommates were each their own horror story. The issue came up when my girlfriend, let's call her Sarah F28, came over one day. Alex was shirtless. To clarify, I forgot to tell Alex that she was coming over, and she noticed the scars on his chest. After that she was quiet and short with me her entire stay there. When she got home, she blew up my phone, asking why I had a female living with me. I was confused and asked what she was on about. She says that she knows that his scars are from top surgery, and that he is short, so he has to be trans, and a born female. I tried to explain that even if Alex is trans or a born female, that there is no way I'd be attracted to him because to any person who looked at him, you would see a freaking guy. Plus, he's respectful and doesn't cause drama like my last roommates, which she knows about. Just to be clear, I honestly still have no idea if Alex is even trans. I googled it, and those scars could be from some other surgery, like heart surgery or gynecomastia. And I really don't have an argument for him being short, but there is a lot of short men. At first Sarah wanted me to just ask Alex if he was trans, which why the f would I do that, or give her his last name so she can run a background check. I said no to both. Then she said this was a violation of trust and that if I didn't either find out it's Alex is trans, and kick him out, or just kick him out that she would have to reevaluate things. Basically, threatening to break up. I said I don't do ultimatums and that we're done. Since then, she's been messaging me every single day for over 2 weeks, even after I blocked her on everything because she wouldn't leave me alone, pissed that I wouldn't do this small thing for her. She ranges from, "Are you fucking him? Let's just talk. Why can't you at least give me closure and ask him?" to the most recent her telling our mutual friend about the situation. Our friend wants nothing a part of this show. I didn't feel bad at first, but after talking about it online, I've had some people say I should have just asked my roommate if he was indeed trans just to keep the peace, or that I shouldn't have essentially picked my roommate who I've only had for about 6 months over my girlfriend of 5 years. I wonder if I am being unreasonable. I legitimately do not see how any straight dude could find Alex attractive personally, but maybe I should have done something just to keep the peace. My now ex-girlfriend thinks that my roommate is trans, told me to find out for sure or kick him out. I refused and broke up with her. AITA. Edit to answer some questions. Did you break up with her? Yes. During the text conversation we broke up. I always told her I had one rule, that I don't do ultimatums. If she were to say, choose X or me, that I would leave. I put up with a lot of verbal and physical, but I don't put up with that kind of BS. Ages. I was 17 and she was 22/23 when we got together. It's been a long time, so I'd have to look back to make sure. But yeah, I was for sure 17. We got together the day I turned 17. Our anniversary is my birthday. We couldn't get together before then because of the age of consent in my state, which I get now is really f***ed up. I don't know if it helps, but we have known each other our entire lives. My mom is her mom's best friend. When my mom worked, I would go over to Sarah's mom's house so I wasn't alone. We started talking and flirting when I was about 15 or 16, but didn't cross any physical lines until I turned 17 because I didn't want her to get arrested. I get that sounds bad. I really do. But at the time I didn't see it as bad. Just in case it is asked, our moms encouraged it. Why would you want to be with someone like that? I don't. I really don't. I didn't realize it was transphobia until some people here talked to me about it. I thought it was just her being jealous. But I get how up it is now. Please understand I live in the Bible Belt. I didn't even know trans people existed until I was 16. My personal thoughts are that I don't see a problem with people being trans and transitioning. I think at the end of the day it isn't my business. Is Alex trans? I have no clue. He could be, but he could have also had breast cancer, gyno, heart, lung, or any kind of other surgery. I used a photo from Google/Reddit because this whole time I personally thought he had gyno or something. But it's not my business. Is Alex safe? I'll talk to him when I get home and then talk to my landlord. I will change my gate code and also have her removed from the allowed guests list and also ask my landlord to not let her in personally. She hasn't been too violent of a person in the past, but I also didn't know she was this insane in the past either. Was there abuse? I feel like this has been kind of implied in some questions. I don't know. Has she insulted me? Yes. Has she been physical? Yes. But nothing crazy. Slapping, pushing, shoving, but never anything like punching or drawing blood. Why use CM if you're American? I was born and raised American. However, I got a couple of friends who use metric from college, and after sharing a group chat with them for so long, the habit has stuck. If anyone cares, we're in automotive engineering. The photo is not actually Alex. I searched Google for gyno surgery photos and then found a Reddit post talking about it. I used it as a reference for what I mean. Scarring under the chest and around the nipple area. I definitely wouldn't actually post a photo of Alex here, censored or not. I'm sorry for confusion. Why didn't you ask Alex about his scars? I have a few reasons. I personally wouldn't like it if someone asked me. Second, my mom has scars all around her body for different reasons and gets livid if you ask her about them. Third, probably the one that confuses people the most, I didn't really care enough to ask. I was curious but not I just thought, and then went on with my business. Small update. I talked to Alex. I got advice saying to be upfront and tell him what's up completely, hide the trans part, and that I just shouldn't tell him. I don't know if this was the right thing but I just told him, because once I was face to face with him, I couldn't really help but do it. To clarify, I did not ask him about his scars or mention that specifically. I said my ex-girlfriend was under the impression he was a trans person, made sure to say I didn't care if he was or wasn't, and that I broke things off, changed the gate codes, put her on the do not let in list, all that drama. Before even saying anything, he asked if I was okay, like I said he is a chill dude. He also not so subtly asked the same questions that a lot of comments asked, essentially if I was in an abusive situation. I told him I don't know but whatever kind of situation it was, it's over. The thing that really kind of f***ed with me is that he called me his best friend. I regret not saying we were close in other comments. I realize now we have different definitions of close because he is introverted and I'm not. We talked about irrelevant stuff for a while and then the question came up, would you care if I was trans? To summarize things, yes, Alex is trans mask. He had top surgery when he was 19 and has been on hormones since he was 18. He even has a tattoo with the date he started testosterone. While the idea that he could have been a dude with gyno, cancer, or something else is completely reasonable, it just happens that Alex is trans. And I don't care about that. Alex is Alex. I did show him the post and got permission to update things. I would not have otherwise. He is also roaming this post somewhere, but probably won't comment. Notes. Alex is going to help me out with finding some low-cost or pay-scale therapy because he personally hasn't heard good things about the college's therapy services. Like everyone else has said, yes, it was abuse. I see that. I will also hold higher standards for myself in the future. Alex sent me the information for the therapist he sees and I'll contact them in the morning. The landlord knows there is a domestic incident and I trust him when it comes to making sure my ex doesn't show up. The do not allow list was made in mind for this reason. I am not ready to talk to my mom about this. But I hope with some therapy and time I will be. She knows something is going on, but she believes this is a break and not a breakup. Sorry if this sounds like rambling, it is. This has been a rough couple of weeks. My brain is fried and I'm tired. Keep in mind, I'm still a full-time student during this. I also have to keep my grades up for my grants, scholarships, government aid, etc. I do read all comments, even the not-so-good ones. I will try to respond more before I sleep tonight, but just know even if I don't reply, I have read it. I appreciate all the advice, kicks in the rear, and the sympathy. A side note, I have seen a lot of trans people comment on this post, and I have had a few reaches out to me in private. I am thankful for your comments as well. It has brought to my attention how tough things are out there because I honestly felt what I did was the bare minimum and not worthy of praise because it should just be expected. But I see that it is being praised for how low of a bar there is when it comes to human decency towards you, and I'm sorry for that and hope things get better. Girlfriend of 5 years wanted me to kick out my chill roommate of 6 months because he is trans, which apparently means I'll sleep with him. Broke up with her, kept the roommate. Official update. I talked to the therapist Alex recommended. Normally I would be on the wait list until January, but due to the situation the therapist referred me to one of his associates and I'll be seen as early as next week. I also was recommended to attend a domestic violence support group that gathers once a month. I was originally not going to go because the idea was uncomfortable as but Alex said he'll go with me so at least I'll know someone there and we can leave if it's too weird for me. My mom is aware of the breakup. She is not too happy. I did not mention the trans part. I said that Sarah was being controlling and I didn't want to put up with it anymore. Got the usual, that's a normal part of any relationship, comments, but I stood my ground. My mom seems to be under the same delusion as Sarah that this is a small argument or something, and we will get back together. But that is absolutely no happening. I don't really talk to Sarah's mom, so I don't know her thoughts on the matter. The landlord is aware of the situation and will not let Sarah in, should she try to show up. If you don't have the gate code, you have to go to the main office and the employee, landlord's son, will buzz the person in if they are on your accepted people list or call the tenant and ask if they aren't on the list. If the individual is on the do not let in list, especially if it involves a criminal matter, they will be asked to leave. If they don't leave, then it becomes trespassing. I know this sounds like a lot, but the security is why a lot of people live here. Notes after reading some comments. I am sorry for trivializing my abuse. It still feels weird to say abuse, but I do know that it is abuse. Slapping, pushing, and shoving is physical abuse, and if another person came up and told me their partner was doing that, I would call it abuse. It's not that I don't think women can be abusive, but as I said in one of the comments, I don't view it as abuse when it's towards me. This is probably due to being abused by my mom, which I am going to get help for. For reference, when I mention my mom's abuse, it's why I'm low contact with her. The reason why I was extremely underweight as a kid is because she just straight up didn't feed me a lot of the time. CPS got called a lot, but never did anything. They also didn't take any claims by my teachers that I was being abused as creditable because there were no marks or bruises, which has warped my view on abuse. Going forward, if I date again, then I won't put up with any physical or verbal abuse. A couple of comments helped by saying that if I was confused on if it was wrong, to think about if it was another person going through it. Which has been helpful in what I feel is right and wrong treatment towards me. After a lot of talking, it turns out Alex and I have been friends this whole time, but because I've never had an introvert friend before, I didn't exactly realize. Alex says he didn't want to annoy me by trying to chat with me all the time, which ironically is what I was feeling. Now we're going to hang out more and he is trying to get me to join the D&D game he is in. Thank you for reading my giant block of text. I'm on the app and I don't exactly know how to format. I'm grateful for all the comments, regardless if they are good or bad. I do read all of them. Update. Hey everyone, I'm really sorry it's taken so long to update. I've been focusing on my mental health and keeping up with school, but overall, I'm doing better than I ever have. I've been going to therapy every week. It'll be every other week starting in January. Attending a domestic violence support group every other week, playing D&D weekly, and I've made several new friends through the support group and D&D. Honestly, if it weren't for Alex, I'm not sure I'd have made it this far. He's driven me to therapy, gone to the support group with me even though he didn't need to, got me into D&D, and introduced me to his friends, who are now also my friends. As for Sarah, who I regret giving that fake name because one of my new friends has the same name, she's in jail. After my initial post, Sarah tried to show up at my apartment, but because she was on the do not let in list, she wasn't allowed in. Instead, she waited for another resident to open the gate, ducked behind their car, and tried to sneak in. She was caught immediately, and the landlord called the police to issue her a formal trespass notice. After that, I began the process of getting a PPO. A week later, Sarah was arrested on charges unrelated to my apartment. She was arrested for trespassing after warning, resisting without violence, and disorderly conduct. She's currently in jail, awaiting her court date. It's likely not going to go well for her since she was already on probation for a second DWI/DUI, and one of the conditions of her probation was to not break the law. How do I know all this? A mutual friend posted it on his Snap story. More good news. My PPO was approved on Monday. It took too long in my opinion, but whatever, it's finally done. Now, for some difficult news. I'm officially no contact with my mom. I know, logically, this is the right decision because she's not a healthy person, but it still hurts. After talking with my therapist and in support group, I realized that my views on healthy relationships and abuse were really warped, especially by my mom. I know some might say it's important to forgive her or at least give her a chance to change, but I just can't. I can't bring myself to forgive her. She neglected me as a child, physically and verbally abused me into adulthood, and even encouraged me to date an adult when I was a minor. After reflecting on everything, I also can't bring myself to say I love her. I realize I only felt that way out of obligation and pity. My mom was taken advantage of when she was a minor, which led to her pregnancy with me, and I do feel bad for her. But instead of seeking help, she chose not to. Now, I'm using her as a reverse moral compass. Whatever she did, I now try to do the opposite. This Christmas, I'm spending time with Alex and his family, which I guess is now also my family. I'm really thankful for the continued support from all of you, and I'll try to provide more updates moving forward. OP is not the AH. His ex was controlling, transphobic, and her ultimatum was unreasonable. OP respected his roommate's privacy and ended an abusive relationship. Choosing basic decency over bigotry was the right call. As for scores, I would rate OP 0 and OP's ex 2.5 on the AH scale. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.